All right, welcome to this week's edition of Connecting Right.
Yes, episode. I don't even know where we're at.
Yeah,
right now,
I've lost track of that.
This week.
Yes, it's the week of what? We're November 10th.
Do we start it on a Sunday or do you start that week on Monday?
All right. I don't know. So, anyways, we're really excited about this show. We had a good show last week, and this week, coming up after the first break, which is going to be here shortly, we're going to have Ray Smith and Brian Slocum from SCV Emergency Now page.
Yes, very exciting, which is a wonderful Facebook group that I think really does a lot for the community.
It does. It's become one of the largest Facebook groups in our community, surpassing some of the community groups. But also, they just give out a lot of good information. They keep everybody informed of what's going on. But before we get into that, first off, yesterday was Veterans Day.
It was.
And we are very grateful for everyone that has served and everyone that is serving, and we hope we would always wish for the best for those that are overseas. Both my grandfathers were in the military. One of them only for a short amount of time because of his knee, but he became the deputy chief of LA City Fire Department instead. Yeah. But my cousin, he graduated. He was first petty chief officer, I think is what it is, for the Navy, which is one of the highest ranks that you can get with them. So that's awesome. I always appreciate him. Plenty of friends that have been in the military. You have family that's in the military? Yeah,
my brother's a vet. My grandfather was a vet. My uncle was a vet. Being part of the military has definitely been a big part of our family. Mm-hmm. Which is always nice. I mean, seeing that those people step up and say, look, this is something I want to do. I want to serve my country.
Yeah.
And Veterans Day is a nice day for us just to, as a country, come together and say thank you.
Yes. One of the guys that we have on regularly, Matt Funicello, he's a Marine vet, so we are always appreciative of his service too. And we have lots of vets within the Santa Clarita Valley. They do that great. I don't know exactly what to call it, but where they put up the flags that have the pictures and the names.
Yeah, one thing I did find out on that, speaking of, is it costs the families $421 to put up per banner. 'Cause obviously it's a nice banner. There are costs that come with it.
Yeah.
So maybe next year it's something we should look into.
Definitely. Maybe we can do a little fundraising throughout the entire city to
adopt a vet.
Do an adopt a vet type thing. Have people donate so that because $441 is not cheap.
It's somewhere around there.
Okay, so
nobody hold me to that number, but I know it's in the low 400s.
But hopefully next year we can actually do something and we can help out with that, because I think it's very important for all of our military servicemen to be honored in one fashion or another.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, even Katie Hill did a thing. We had her on last week. She did a pancake breakfast for vets. That was it was free if you were a vet, $10 if you weren't a vet, and so it's good to see that. And we know that Steve Knight is he's a vet also. Katie Hill, she's had vets in her family. Steve Knight is a vet. So we have people that are within our community that are higher up that are doing things for us that are.
Do you think Katie Hill made a pancake for Steve Knight?
I don't know. I think it would be very nice if she did, since she was honoring vets. Yeah. So, maybe they could put differences aside and just enjoy Veterans Day.
I mean, who doesn't like pancakes?
I mean, who doesn't like veterans?
Yeah,
so, so I think it's a win-win there.
Yeah.
Anyways, also this past Tuesday we had our Day of Healing event.
Yes, big event.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was sick with a head cold, which is very sad. But I know that you
it was a man cold, so that makes it way worse.
But I was sad that I wasn't able to join you and Scott and Todd over at Pocock Brewery, which them and Pacific Pizza brought in quite a bit of money. Indian Affair brought in quite a bit of money. I'm still waiting to hear back from the Vincenzos on their numbers. Sicily?
Sicily. The Sizzler.
Sizzler.
Free breadsticks.
Do we even have a Sizzler out here anymore?
There is on Golden Valley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, free breadsticks.
What were some of the other restaurants that we had? The Newhall Refinery and Egg Plantation. They brought in quite a bit of money. So we did really well. And then plus the restaurants and businesses that did a flat donation. Schoonerville Bar up on the Four Corners up there, and the Pest Control, Dallas Pest Control. So we appreciate everybody that participated, everybody that donated. This is going to go to a great cause. It's going to help people out, and we're the next step is to is to reach out to the victims, whether it was a physical something physically that they got hit by a bullet, or coming out of this, there's emotional trauma also.
Absolutely.
So we just want to be able to help out everybody that we can. So we're gonna.
And if you were there and we haven't been in contact yet, please message the Facebook page SCV Healing Fund. Over the next week or so, we're going to definitely be coordinating with victims on the best way we can help them moving forward.
Yes. So again, we appreciate everyone that showed up and everyone that did something. And it was a great success for our first event. It went really well. We even had a company that was down in North Hollywood come all the way up here and get food, take it back where it was already cold, and they ate it. Just so Smokehouse was another one. Sorry that I didn't mean
New Hall Refinery. Did you say that?
I said New Hall Refinery Plantation, but they ordered from Smokehouse and one of the Vincenzos. So we really appreciate them going out of their way and their employees eating cold food just to support our cause.
But to be fair, pizza cold is still good.
Right. But barbecue cold is still good too.
Yeah, there's really not any food that you could have cold that really is horrible.
No,
Maybe
I can't think of anything.
Oatmeal.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe oatmeal.
I'm not 90 yet. I'm not eating oatmeal. Anyways, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to have Ray Smith and Brian Slocum with us, and we will learn all about SCV Emergency Now and their affiliate pages, and just about how this all started.
Absolutely.
There's only one Santa Clarita plastic surgeon who is Yale trained and board certified, Dr. Justin Heller.
To be a board certified plastic surgeon like myself, what that truly entails is about 5 to 7 years of honed surgical training in reconstructive, all areas, as well as aesthetics, which means your facelifts, your breast augmentations, your body contouring, true training, and board certification. In fact, that's the only board certified area that can be achieved in this realm.
Dr. Justin Heller, warm, understanding, always available for guidance because he's local. HellerPlasticSurgery.com.
Coming soon to the Canyon Santa Clarita, Gin Blossoms, Eddie Money, Chris Christopherson, Timothy B. Schmidt, Petula Clark, Tower of Power, Berlin, Todd Rundgren, Jefferson Starship, John Hyatt, The Spinners, Doc In, Lynch Mod, English Beat, Sinbad, Cinderella's Tom Kiefer, Ricky Lee Jones, Ambrosia, Donovan Frankenreiter, Boogie Nights, and many more. Soulful Sunday brunch every Sunday, country nights on Wednesdays, and they're the perfect place to host your holiday parties and special events. The Canyon Santa Clarita, where music meets the soul. Tickets available through Ticketmaster.
Do you like to rock across Africa?
Then the wait is over.
Africa Rocks! Africa's Greatest Hits is now available at the San Diego Zoo! And who could forget 99 Red Baboons?
Or the African crested porcupine smash hit, I Got Quills to Pay the Bills! Hey, don't get too close!
And the hits keep on coming!
Africa Rocks has all your favorites from 6 different African habitats.
Hungry like a leopard!
Ibex is back!
Harder, better, Fossa stronger!
And a new track from Kendrick Lamar!
Now, Larry.
Yes, Chuck?
A collection of this magnitude, I'd fly to Africa!
Well, don't pack your bags, friend. Africa Rocks is only available right here at the San Diego Zoo.
Wow, that really does rock.
No, it Africa Rocks.
Welcome to Africa Rocks. Experience 6 different African habitats, including our first ever aquatic enclosure with African penguins. Only at the San Diego Zoo.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
All right, welcome back to the Connecting Right Radio Show.
Yes.
And we are very fortunate tonight. We get to have Ray Smith from SCV Emergency Now.
Hi, guys.
And Brian Slocum.
Hey, Santa Clarita, what's going on?
I'm saying your name right? Slocum?
Yep.
All right, cool.
This is the first one in history.
We can't change it. We can't change it. We already said it. It's live. It's gone out there.
You might as well just start saying it the way we say it.
Change your name.
Going to do that.
So we're really excited to have you guys on. Your Facebook page it's about a little over 2 years old.
That's right. Yeah, just 2 years old in July.
2 years old in July, and it's one of the biggest community pages that we have out here. Besides I don't really count those buy and sell pages, but like one that actually informs people and helps people out. It's one of the biggest pages that's out here in Santa Clarita.
The biggest one when you're not looking for a dresser to buy.
Right.
Well, I mean, unless you're like looking on the 5 freeway, because oftentimes we do have dressers and tables, and we'll let you know.
And yeah, it's everything from just a minor inconvenience like that to major crimes that happen. And you guys report on everything and kind of let people know what's going on. So how did this all start? Where did this all come from?
Okay. Well, like most great things, they're built on an original idea somewhere else. And I had been in a group previously that had reported on a car accident one night. And there was a tremendous response from community members worried that this vehicle may have involved one of their loved ones. And until there were people on the ground who were reporting the make and model of this vehicle, people were really stressed out. And as the information was flowing, you could see these anxiety levels dropping, and people went from scared to wanting to be helpful, send out prayers and concern. And I saw this, and to me, I thought, my God, what a great idea. This happens around us all the time, and we are so fortunate to be able to share information so quickly these days. That's kind of where it was born from, was just the need to share information and take care of each other, which is actually our hashtag, is taking care of each other and looking out for one another.
And so this is kind of your baby. You started this whole thing, yeah?
SCV Emergency Now has definitely been my baby. The last couple of years, I had no idea it would turn out to be such a big deal.
Yes.
How many members do you guys have now?
I think SCV Emergency Now is just under 22,000 members.
That's wow.
Yeah, just under 22,000. We move pretty quick. We're averaging about 1,000 new members per month.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So how does Brian fit into this whole thing? Where did Brian come from?
Brian was a member in a group that I had been a co-admin for previously, and he shown to have a lot of involvement. He was on point. He was collective with information. Keeping the sanity, kind of kept emotion out of things.
Comedy.
Kind of broke it down to information only and not so much hysteria. And when I started my second group, I reached out. I was looking for a handful of people who were active that wanted to help me on my side project. And Brian put his hand up, said, "Hey, I'm in. Let's do this." And that's how he joined my team.
All right,
very nice.
And you're a born and raised Santa Claritian also, right?
Actually, no.
No? I thought.
Well, sort of. I was actually born in Henry Mayo,
Okay.
but we lived in Sylmar, and I, for most of my childhood and early adolescence, I grew up in a town called Juniper Hills.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Where?
No, I've actually heard of it.
That's about 17 miles above the Antelope Valley in the mountains.
Yep.
And then about age 13, right before high school, I moved back to Santa Clarita.
Okay.
And been here ever since. But I've been here long enough to say that I'm full blood now.
Yes, yes. And Brian, I hear you have somebody you want to say hi to real quick?
Yes, I'd like to say hi to my son, Jaden. He's over at his aunt and uncle's house right now. And don't forget, 8:30 is bedtime.
Well, and Brian, so you're a native from Santa Clarita, yes?
Born and raised.
Born and raised?
Yeah.
And Newhall, Saugus, Valencia?
Newhall, now currently in Canyon Country.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you went through the whole, I think you told me you went Newhall, Placerita at Hart. And you've just been here ever since and love the city as much as the rest of us. Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So so she mentioned that there's another group. There's been offshoots from SCV Emergency Now. And then one of the first ones was one that you kind of handle, right?
Which is the Helicopters, Lights, and Sirens page.
And what's that one all about?
Mainly, if you see helicopter with a spotlight on, sirens or lights in your neighborhood, fire trucks, police cars, whatever. Mainly just based on point emergencies that are happening right now. Not something big, but more of just the quick little small stuff. Hey, there's an accident here. Use these routes to go around, stuff like that. If anything goes big emergency, like a brush fire or something of that nature, then it gets transferred over into Emergency Now.
Okay. So it's sort of the jumping off point. If there's something small and if it becomes escalated, then we'll move it over to Emergency Now. But for all the small stuff, so that way that Emergency Now can kind of focus on the bigger issues,
right?
While HLS can kind of focus on the
quick stuff,
the little things that are happening, small accidents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's other groups too. Well, I don't know how you do this, Ray, but so you have SCV Emergency Now, you have HLS, which is Helicopters, Lights, Sirens. You also have the
suspicious activity and stolen items.
Yes,
and the scanner group.
We actually have a dedicated scanner group. That is not actually it's not a really active group, honestly. There's a very small amount of people that will post scanners, but it's kind of turned in that helicopters just absorbed that group. They really did, because we started posting so many scanner calls. And then we have our community group. People, they really enjoy these groups. You know, it's amazing. They're open and they want to chat and they want to talk. And oftentimes a lot of our incidents will naturally turn into an open discussion. Helicopters, we really want to get the incident closed quick and moved on to the next, because there's so much going on all the time. But a lot of really good conversation comes out of this, and so we decided that we should have a community group where people could continue that discussion.
Okay.
So that's where that one was born.
That's the SCVEN chat?
SCV Society Community Chat.
SCV Society.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. Wow.
I told you guys I
Quite the
stuttered.
tongue.
It's coming.
Well, that's awesome that you do this. So what is it, just the need that you saw with people wanting, when you saw that initial post with the accident and everything, is that what compelled you to do this? Was there anything else, or was it just sort of the I want to be able to inform people?
Right. So that one incident was really the jumping point. For SCV Emergency Now, it really gave the opportunity to get people prepared for emergencies. And he's going to hate that I say this, but this is probably half my husband's fault. He has a pile of Survivor magazines next to the bed. And before this, I was just like everybody else. You know, like this is something we see in the movies. But as I started getting further into it and doing research and finding out about that these are not just, you know, things that might happen, that it's not a matter of if, it is when, it gave me a lot of content to put this out to people to help them get prepared. And so I started asking the question, like, what is it that you have? What are you ready for? And it's amazing how many people are not ready.
Yeah,
and this is not something that, you know, that is in imagination. Like we see this has happened in the Northridge earthquake, the mudslides, the fires every year. But it's still mind-boggling how much people will just think that I'll deal with it when I get there.
Right.
Well, I think for a lot of people, they start feeling like there's a lot of things they need to do to be prepared, which is probably not necessarily the case. The last major earthquake we had was what, 25 years?
Has it been that long?
94?
94, yeah.
Okay, so 23. Cody's, is that my math correct? Board out, Cody? He's saying yes. So,
just rolling with it.
We got this.
Were you alive when the 94 earthquake happened, Cody?
I was alive. I was very young. I was born in 92, so it was at least after 92. I can give you that.
All right.
Not terribly much longer as a baby, but don't know exactly.
And how old are you?
I'm 26 now.
All right, so it's 24 years ago.
Okay.
If you do the math.
That math's good. The math is solid.
All right.
So again, moving back. So last major earthquake was 24 years ago. We're due for another one. We live in Southern California. It's not a possibility of if we're going to have one. It's when. What are some steps you would tell people to take to be prepared for that?
Well, we actually run a series through the groups over about 10, 12 weeks, a preparedness challenge. And what it's aimed to do is to get people ready in small steps and kind of have a little bit of fun with it. When it's broken down into these segments, it doesn't become overwhelming anymore. It becomes something that, yes, I can do this. And some of these items actually can carry a little bit of cost to it. So breaking them down into weekly things really helps people bring along. But if I had to say what is the number one most important item that people should have is water. Water is key. Water is life. 3 days without water, we start facing, our brain shutting down, body shutting down, and eventually death. Right. So that's key. After that, a first aid kit, start tending to wounds. And that can come in handy, not just for a major earthquake. There's lots of things that happen in our daily lives that I'm sure everybody had an emergency kit that they bought 7 years ago that if they opened it today, you have one Band-Aid left and a rolled up thing of Neosporin in it, right?
Right.
Because you have been dipping into it. You just didn't realize that you were dipping into your own little personal emergencies.
Right.
So starting with water, emergency kit, and information after that. You want to be plugged in, especially to things like KHTS radio 1220. This is going to be our emergency station when things go down. So just doing little things, and eventually you're there.
Yeah.
Eventually you're there, and you're going to be a step ahead. So when the day comes, you may be still fearful, but if you have a plan and you have stuff underneath you, it's going to be better to get you through.
So water and first aid are basically like the number one things.
Water, first aid, information.
And information.
Yeah.
Okay. And
food after that.
Food, I was going to say, yeah.
In and out. We got to figure out how to get in and out after that.
So if someone were to come to you and say, "Hey, how much water should I be storing?" What would your answer be for that? If someone's like, how much water should I like?
Well, I'm like the psycho prepper, so I'll start with like what Red Cross recommends: 3 gallons of water per day per person, and extra water on hand for your animals. For me, I as much as you can carry, as much as you can, fulfill your space with it, and remembering that in these situations you have your hot water heater is going to have a little bit of water in it. A pool for washing, maybe not for drinking. It might lead to some kind of gastrointestinal issues, but just being mindful at the time of your resources, that there's a couple gallons in the top of your toilet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one flush if you want to go that route and waste your water in that way. But I would definitely suggest as much as you can keep.
Okay.
But definitely the 3 gallons. Per day per person.
Okay. And do you have any recommendations for like food type situation? Like I have a bunch of MREs. That's what
and those are awesome.
That's what I got. So
back in the day, we would cut into those for fun, right? Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that. I have another group. Shocker. I have another group.
No way.
It's called Thrive Emergency Food for emergencies and everyday preparedness.
Okay.
And we are focused on selling. I didn't mean to sell it, but I wanted my members to be able to have access to it. And I had a rep, and she actually moved on to another career. So I found the best way that I can maintain control and get my members plugged into this was to become a rep, because I didn't have enough on my plate.
Right.
So I got involved with this company. It's called Thrive Shelf Reliance, and they're actually out of Utah. And most of their foods they have a 25-year shelf life, and they are fabulous. It is clean, simple eating. It's all stuff Santa Clarita would love. It's like farm to table, no preservatives, and everything tastes great. So I do like that because it's healthy. And in the end of this, I actually cook with Thrive all the time.
Okay.
I cook with it weekly. It's a fabulous product. If you guys want to check out that group, I'll guide you on how to create your own emergency supply kit, because every family is going to be different.
Yes.
Okay, because just because you have 60 cans of beans does not mean that your 6-year-old's going to eat
60
beans
cans
the whole time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so.
And then what about for people with like allergies or like if they can't eat gluten, something like that? Is there within your Thrive? Do they have options like that?
They do. They have gluten-free products. They have organic products. But each container does let you know if it's been processed with something like milk or other equipment that's used nuts, but they're very specific about it. But you can definitely use some of these products too. I mean, if you have something that's going to potentially put you in death's way, do your research.
Right.
Like don't rely specifically on the fact that maybe that nuts were processed somewhere in this company. Find another product.
Okay.
Definitely, that's most important.
Okay.
But otherwise, everything's really great.
Great. Well, back to the groups, Brian. I'm going to go ahead and ask you a question. What are some of the pitfalls that you've dealt with as being an admin of this group? Because I know that you've dealt with some interesting situations from time to time. What are some of the things that have happened that you're able to talk about, and what do you do to keep yourself sane through all this?
I'd have to say I'm probably the number one guy that does not put up with the nonsense of the group.
Good.
I will not put up with, people bashing a certain part of town. Every part has their pitfalls. Every part's got their bad part of town. You know what? There's bad everywhere, no matter where you go.
Mm-hmm.
So I follow the rules to a T. Black and white, no
Right.
gray area. If you overstep this boundary, you're gone. Sorry. It's in the pin post. Read it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
Notorious pin
He's
post.
definitely our sergeant of arms.
I bring the comedy to the group. I keep it fun. There was a call that we had probably about a year ago. It was breaking up off of I think it was off Winterdale in Canyon Country, and the helicopter was there. Sheriff's. The post was just jamming. It was people are like, oh my god, I live here. Keep us updated. It's like with the scanner, it's like waiting for Santa Claus. You're like, it's just nothing but crickets. There's nothing going on. So finally, I'm like, oh, my battery just died on my scanner, and the whole group flipped out, and I'm like, oh, I'm just kidding. So it brought comedy into that post.
Right.
Because they're waiting for info, and I'm waiting for info to post it, and
Nothing's coming in.
it was when the scanner died. It would just everyone freaked out, but then I brought it back, and everyone's laughing. So
I think comedy saves us a lot.
Yeah.
Comedy is a form of coping, and it gets us through stress. Not everybody appreciates it all the time.
For the most part, they do.
Yeah.
They laugh and stuff like that.
It really does carry us.
My profile picture is the rolling eye emoji guy.
Yes.
And everyone always comments on that. It's been that way for I don't know how long now, but it's that little bit of comedy to kind of ease the situation down.
Right.
If it's tents or it's in their neighborhood or something like that.
Right. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you about the scanners because I know that you have information on that, and I think it's important for people to know what's going on with that. So we'll be right back with Ray Smith and with Brian Slocum. Thank you guys for being on.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Do you like to rock across Africa?
Then the wait is over.
Africa Rocks! Africa's Greatest Hits is now available at the San Diego Zoo! And who could forget 99 red baboons?
Or the African crested porcupine smash hit, I Got Quills to Pay the Bills. Hey, don't get too close.
And the hits keep on coming.
Africa Rocks has all your favorites from 6 different African habitats.
Hungry like a leopard.
Ibex is back.
Harder, better, Fossa stronger.
And a new track from Kendrick Lieber.
Now, Larry.
Yes, Chuck?
A collection of this magnitude, I'd fly to Africa.
Well, don't pack your bags, friend. Africa Rocks is only available right here at the San Diego Zoo.
Wow, that really does rock.
No, it Africa Rocks.
Welcome to Africa Rocks. Experience 6 different African habitats, including our first ever aquatic enclosure with African penguins. Only at the San Diego Zoo.
Every year, thousands of local children, teens, and adults receive treatment at the Child and Family Center for depression, anger, anxiety, abuse, thoughts of suicide, and drug and alcohol addictions. Our professional staff provides outpatient services at office locations, in the home, the community, and on many elementary, junior, and high school campuses throughout our valley. If you need help, contact Child and Family Center at 259-9439 or childfamilycenter.org. Improving lives, one family at a time.
There's only one Santa Clarita plastic surgeon who is Yale trained and board certified, Dr. Justin Heller.
To be a board-certified plastic surgeon like myself, what that truly entails is about 5 to 7 years of honed surgical training in reconstructive, all areas, as well as aesthetic, so which means your facelifts, your breast augmentations, your body contouring, true training, and board certification. In fact, that's the only board-certified area that can be achieved in this realm.
Dr. Justin Heller, warm, understanding, always available for guidance because he's local. HellerPlasticSurgery.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
All right, welcome back to Connecting Right Radio Show. We have Ray Smith and Brian Slocum from SCV Emergency Now, HLS. Somebody stole my stuff. All these other groups that they do. When we left, you were mentioning scanners, and I have Baofeng. Is that how you say it? Baofeng.
I don't know the right terminology.
Baofeng, whatever.
Fang sounds cool.
Yeah.
So.
And these are the ones that you recommend for the everyday citizen, right?
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about these and what the advantage of having one of these is.
For the basic knowledge that people need, something happened in their neighborhood where it could be somebody who's not feeling well or whatever, it'll answer your question.
Okay.
So it's real basic. It's real simple. It's nothing crazy, high tech, anything like that. It's basic. It's simple to operate. Mm-hmm. And that's what we started using off was that.
Yeah.
But it's a great basic scanner.
Okay.
Good price too. They're reasonably inexpensive.
Yeah.
And you can program a good amount of channels. You don't want anything outside of SCV because you can't hear it anyways.
Right.
The antennas are kind of small. But again, easy to use. There's the big orange button that fixes all your problems. Anytime you sit on your scanner or drop it, you hit the orange button, you're back online.
And it's also a good way to if there's other people that have these. That's communication devices. If there's any type of emergency or something like that, if you're able to get to it, you're actually able to use it as like a walkie-talkie, right?
We have the ones that I'm selling that I got a huge waiting list for to get them out to people, but I disable that button because if you're on that sheriff's channel listening to it and you push that button, you're going to be on with them.
Okay.
So I disable all those
ham
functions.
radios.
And they do not like that.
No, you have to be licensed to transmit.
If you see something and hey, they're over here. It's different, but we can't.
Gotcha. Okay. And but some of the sheriffs aren't too keen on a bunch of people having scanners.
I guess I was talking to one guy that I'm going to do a ride along with in a couple of weeks, and he was saying that I guess back in the day there was a ring going around where these guys were breaking into homes and they had scanners, so you could hear when they were coming, all that stuff. So, but I guess that whole ring kind of phased out and stuff. But I think it's a great tool to have where people on their way home from work, if they see traffic, turn it on. We find out why traffic's here or whatever to get around the situation.
Okay.
So
it's still a good piece to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what other recommendations would you have for Ray's given us hers on her preparedness? What other recommendations would you have for citizens for being prepared for any type of disaster? Because I mean that can help out a lot in a disaster.
Absolutely.
What other information would you have besides just the scanner that you would recommend?
We have a lot of apps, right? Apps that we use.
There's a ton of apps to use. Also, one thing is cash.
Always
If power's out, you're not swiping your card.
Right, that's true.
So pack $100 or whatever you could afford to put in your little emergency kit.
Okay.
I'm not prepared.
Right.
I live that way where I'm like, I'm not going to.
This is an admin downfall right here. Like, we're not hearing this over here. I'm not hearing any of that.
But, I'm not prepared. When it happens, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather not be prepared, but not freak myself out thinking it's going to come. It's going to come, and when it does, it does.
And then he's going to be at my house.
And I'll figure thrive.
He's
I know where I'm going if something happens.
Right. That's what all my neighbors say to me. Like, we're just going to come to your house. I'm like, all right.
I'll get your address later. Back up.
I know, Sean, you got some questions too.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I've noticed about the groups, probably the best thing that's come about is you always have these people that are freaked out. They see a helicopter, they see police everywhere, and they want to know what's going on, if there's some huge issue, if it's someone they know. And I do like the idea that people can go into one of these groups, they can quickly see either the admins or someone else posts scanner calls or information on exactly what's going on. Do you feel like that's the most beneficial thing to the groups? That knowledge?
That's that's the premises of what we do, and honestly, these groups don't work without our members, without their participation, and because we can hear something go out. Something goes out over the scanner, it's not always exactly accurate.
Yeah.
That's just what the call, when someone calls a sheriff station or 911, has told them of a situation, and it's very fluid. Once the law enforcement or fire gets on scene, things can change rather quickly. So having these people that are actually on the ground reporting, it means everything.
Yeah.
So the admins can only do so much, and our groups are so awesome is because there's so much participation from everybody. And then that's what's important is rolling down that thread from start to finish, from not okay to we're totally cool and safe, the guy's apprehended, the fire's out, whatever it is. It's pretty amazing actually sometimes. Sometimes I'm not on a thread and I'm watching another admin run it, and I'm seeing the life of it as it breaks down and it comes to closure, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
It really is cool.
Now, do you feel that crime has gone up in Santa Clarita, or do you feel that we're just at a point where we're more aware of it with social media?
I think anytime the admins are listening to the scanner, our crime definitely goes up. If you turn off the scanner, you turn off your cell phone, you go outside, you put your electronics down, it's going to feel, again, like the safest city in the country again.
Yeah.
So I can't really say statistically, like for fact, if that's how it is, or if because before, you wouldn't hear about what happened across town.
Yeah.
You would see what was in your general area, down the street, up the street, or a little
Right.
bit of hearsay, maybe if something big enough happened on the news, but you wouldn't hear of the petty break-in, all the way up in, Shadow Pines when you're over in Stevenson's Ranch every single day, every 10 minutes. So
Right.
I'm going to go with no, it's not. Crime is not like getting worse simply because it's getting worse. But anytime you have more people, we're growing pretty fast. This is a popular place to be,
Yes,
Santa
it is.
Clarita. So the more people you have, more people, more problems.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So a couple years ago, we had the Sandfire, and you guys were pretty instrumental in that. You even started a whole other group, the Sandfire group, right?
Oh, we didn't start that actually.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
Oh, I thought you did.
that was
So it's
actually
the one group you don't run.
There's actually a group, yes.
That's it.
Yes, the Sandfire group. The admin over there is actually from the other side of the mountain. He's,
okay.
He's Tahunga area. He's just off the 210. So when their group was an incident group.
Mm-hmm.
So it pops up because the incident is going on, that they were long term, but it's still kind of hanging around today. Those people that went through that fire created an instant bond.
Mm-hmm.
So even though their group has so many members that Facebook won't actually allow you to change the name unless they approve it because there's so many people.
Oh, wow.
But it's kind of stayed as a community group because they're bonded together.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Sandfire definitely taught us a lot and changed things ultimately after that. It was very intense. I don't think any of us got a lot of sleep through that. Gosh, even just like thinking about it, reliving it, kind of brings up the anxiety from it. But we were putting out information 15 minutes before, the police and fire were running through getting people to evacuate because we heard the evacuation starting, the road closure starting, and we were just telling people. And we got a tremendous amount of private messages saying thank you, that you're the reason why we got out with A, B, and C, and not just,
nice.
not just us.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good to know that you actually helped people out in that fashion, that people were able to save some of their lives.
It's the best part.
Yeah.
It's the best part,
That's
getting
the
those
most
messages.
rewarding part, yeah.
Absolutely.
And you said that dealing with that, it kind of changed the way that you guys did things. In what fashion did things change? Like what learning did you get, or what education did you get through dealing with the sand fire?
Patience, working together with my team, breaking each other up, because we also have a public page for SCV Emergency Now. We also have a Twitter. We have a Twitter account for Helicopters, Lights, and Sirens. So breaking up the job of what each one of us is going to do, who's going to focus on what. Because a lot of members want to come in with information, and being accurate is most important. Is getting out accurate information, not hearsay, and keeping the calm.
Yeah.
Keeping the calm while you're not calm.
Right. Yes.
That was
right.
Like I'm over here, oh my God, and I got people who are worried and scared too, and completely separating my own emotion from everything, as long with the admin team as being someone that they're looking to as someone who's stable and in control.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was huge.
Yeah.
It was, and you could see it. You could see people being calm because we were calm.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you guys ever thought about or tried to start a similar group in another city? I see from your face that's a yes, maybe.
Yeah. We volunteered to help on the Blue Cut pilot fire in San Bernardino. There was another pop-up group, an incident group. So when that fire started, there was some good people that started a very similar group to what we do just for that particular incident. And when you haven't had the experience and you jump into this and you have 11,000 members, literally overnight is what they had. 11,000 people that jumped into this.
Wow.
A co-admin that we had previously that's no longer an admin for us. We went over there and offered our hand out because we were so experienced with getting information out. So we did do that one. And then we tried to start a San Fernando Valley Emergency Now, and that got to about 500 members or so, but we just didn't see the same participation.
Yeah.
There wasn't the same sharing of information from the community members down there. So it just kind of died out, and that's key. It requires the members and the caring of neighbors to keep these things alive.
Right. What about doing something that's in a more like a city that's more like Santa Clarita? Like San Fernando's run differently, a lot different than Santa Clarita is. But then you have something like Simi Valley, which is very similar to Santa Clarita. What about starting something within a city like that? Has that been brought up at all?
No.
No.
Well, we just did. Yeah, we brought it up now.
It's been brought up.
Yeah, no. I mean, my plate is really full, and with all the groups that we have going on out here, I would always be willing to mentor.
Okay.
And help guide a group of people to getting on board and teaching them what we do and how we do it. That would always be a thing. But believe it or not, there's a lot of groups out there like us.
Yeah.
I've been playing around with the idea of moving out of California. So I started researching other states and looking for their community groups. And I've come across a lot. I mean, their name's not Emergency Now, but they're whatever they are. And I get in these groups, and they're doing the same thing as us, and we're all got the same conversations, and we're all like, "What's happened to our city?" and prayers, and it's kind of cool,
right.
that it's not an us thing. It's kind of across the board.
And how many admins do you have in your entire admin team?
I think there's off and on 10 of us, kind of moving in and out.
Really active ones, probably five or six.
There's probably 5 you know our names, right? And then there's some that bounce in and out and do stuff behind the scenes.
But we stay in constant contact when there's especially a big situation going on at Sandfire, and kind of take roll call. Hey, can you guys stay up? Who's going to run the night shift on this one? And stuff like that. So we stay in contact through private message as far as someone running an incident or somebody who's seen something but no calls come out yet. And we don't post every call that comes out. There's calls that come out, and we kind of just let it simmer a little bit, let it marinate, and just kind of see where it's going to go before we put it out.
Okay.
But for the most part, probably five active admins that are there all the time, every day.
Okay. And how many incidents are you dealing with on a daily basis, if you were to make a guess?
Emergency Now is a little less active, being that we're focused on a greater number of people being affected by an incident. So we'll do a lot of follow-up to previous stories. But throughout we're very post-heavy. We're a post-heavy group. We've got a lot of things going on throughout the day. So there's anywhere probably 5 to 10 posts in emergency now a day, and helicopters is out of control. There's a lot going on.
That's why I like it. That's a fast-paced thing right there.
I mean, it depends on the more people that are on the scanner listening, the more calls we're going to have.
Gotcha.
That's how I always say that, like our property value is going up as long as we're off the scanners,
Yeah. And with how many of these, how often do you have to deal with quote unquote fake news or fake posts? Like people just trying to, is there anything like that happening where people are just trying to get attention, do you have to ever deal with situations like that?
It happens.
Not so much the post, but more like comments.
The comments are daily. Every post gets after all my
it's side rail.
Delete, block. We don't need it, and we're not going to have it.
Right.
And that's just, I think keeping it clean like that is what attracts so many active members. Is it's not, we don't post something and go away.
Right.
And let it run itself. We stay on top of it, and we make sure it's all accurate info, and just don't put up with nonsense.
And with your no nonsense attitude, do people get removed from the group regularly who are not following the rules, who are trying to not use the group in the best interest? Is that something that you have to go through and do on a regular basis? Is say thanks but no thanks and see you later? You're blocked.
Just house cleaning. That's all it is.
Sweeping it out.
I got a sock on the floor that goes over there. It happens. I wouldn't say daily, but it happens.
We probably have the lowest rate of banning members. I hate it, and I will do everything in my power to try and keep that from happening, because that means that they are cut off from vital information.
Right. Yeah.
But you get the ones that don't belong in there also. That you just gotta.
They earn it too fast.
Yeah, they come in one day or like an hour, and then they don't last.
They show up. They're not really sure how the group goes and how it works, and instead of figuring it out, they just jump in and kind of get jerk face about it.
Test the water.
Right. Yeah. And then you just got to say sorry. Do you ever just message somebody and be like, hey, cool it? Like
me?
Yeah.
No.
Right. Just delete.
That's more on this side of the house over here.
Okay.
I'm going to put out hugs and therapy, and we're going to work this out.
Need a hug. Come on, everybody.
That's awesome.
Do you guys feel like crime is mostly in certain areas of the city, or it's spread out?
It's spread out.
Okay.
It's widespread.
Which is how I feel too.
And the cool thing about the scanner is I sold one to one lady, and she messaged me back, and she goes, "It's not what I need. It's not working." I'm like, "Well, it's a scanner. It's not. There's not crime going on all day."
Right.
Yeah.
So usually between I don't know, early morning to 5 or 6, it's pretty quiet. Mm-hmm. But after 6, people get home, it starts jumping.
The sun goes down.
Yeah, it's real weird. It's real time frame like that.
Yeah.
And then just daily.
Yeah. So there's not like lots of Jake's Way incidents or anything like that. There's nothing it's just all over.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, people like to point those out more often. So I'm making
that.
A point of to say hashtag, of course, it's Stevenson's Ranch.
Right.
So that people can see they're just not focusing on it. But we have just as much going on all parts of town, everywhere, all across Santa Clarita. But I think it's the popular thing to try and jump on one area.
Right.
Which on Ray's watch, that's probably not the best thing to do. That's how you get banned under my watch for doing that kind of stuff. But no, it's everywhere.
Okay.
It really is.
What is the weirdest call you guys have heard?
The weirdest call?
Yeah.
Most interesting,
funniest. So something that popped up that you were just like, seriously?
The naked calls are always awesome.
I to be politically correct, we'll leave it at that.
Good luck with that.
The homeless calls.
Okay.
It's a bad problem in the Santa Clarita Valley with the homeless and the drug abuse and everything else.
Right.
And some of these calls you hear, but what's great hearing it live on the scanner, it's not like an app on your phone like Broadcastify where it's filtered out. You get bits and pieces of it. You hear it the whole step live by live. But there was one, I think it was Thursday, with some homeless guy and girl outside of this Walgreens on Whites and Soledad.
Okay.
Where the guy stole something, and when the units arrived, the woman wasn't complying, so they had to force her to the ground. Not like a lot of force, but then all of a sudden she got a medical emergency. Oh, she's got this going on, and then the ambulance comes, the fire, the drama behind it. the entertainment value is great. Okay. Me and my son sit there sometimes on Friday nights, and we'll sit there and I got a scanner notebook with all the codes and stuff like that.
Right.
So, we listen to calls, he writes it all down, and I put it on Facebook, work like a little team. But a lot of the stuff you hear is comical. And a lot of it at the end, like you hear the call come out, and you're like, oh, this is happening. And you can't find the person.
No, jeez.
Yeah, a lot of unable to locate.
often,
That we
yeah.
got people in the middle of the street acting bizarre, and by the time sheriff gets there, they have magically disappeared.
People like.
Oh, the boat one just recently. That was a good one. The boat that was found underneath the freeway overpass, and someone reported it was there, and the boat had no wheels on it,
but the best.
And there was a blanket inside of it, and they don't know what was wrapped up. And that call, I was so holding on to that because I want to know what was inside the blanket. Right. And they never got to it. So I mean,
Was
like
the
I
guy's
felt like
name
I was
Noah?
shortchanged there.
Right.
No,
It wasn't Noah?
Don't know. They didn't finish the call.
Okay.
There was the.
Is that the
there
boat
was
right
the.
there, too?
Yeah, the boat that was underneath the freeway overpass here
Over on the
highway.
5, yeah. But there was a call last weekend, I think it was, last Friday, Saturday night, with a head-on collision at Vasquez and Sierra Highway.
Okay.
Units arrive on scene, nobody's there. Cars are there.
Oh, that's right. There was
but
no
the people-
and
the
the
people-
car doors
Nobody
were
there.
locked.
Nobody there.
And the cars were unlocked?
The cars were locked.
Oh, cars were
The
locked.
doors were locked.
Head-on collision in the road, bing, but nobody's there.
Wow.
Did they ever find out?
Well, see, that's what you hear in the scanner. That's what's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Wow, that's...
Yeah, they searched the area and never found anybody. But I'm like, how do you have a head-on collision and both people get out like, man, you're drunk. So are you. Gosh, let's
get out of here.
Yeah, they both bail together. I mean,
Wow.
yeah.
Talk about creating a bond out of an awkward situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's great.
But still, don't drive drunk ever.
No.
No.
Yes,
no,
we've
no,
talked
no.
about that on the show before. You do not drive drunk.
We have Friday posts that we put up every Friday night with all the different phone numbers and resources. Designated drivers of Santa Clarita, Lyft, Uber, Yellow Cab, Yellow Star, safe rides for teens. Call your mom, call your friend, call your dog's brother, sister's wife. Please do not drink and drive.
Call Ray.
Call Ray. Call Ray.
Call Ray.
Call Ray, and I'll call someone else for you.
That's awesome. That's really great that you guys do that because we talked about that after we had the unfortunate accident where the mother had passed away from the accident up on
Golden Valley.
Yeah, up on Golden
Evans.
Valley. So, so that was we did a whole thing about don't drive drunk. Here are the resources. So it's awesome that you guys do that every
And
Friday.
there's so many resources
I know.
out there. I don't know why people just don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't
I
understand
don't
it
get
either.
it.
It's so easy, and it's it's a whole lot cheaper. It saves lives. But speaking of that, let me ask. I just want to get your opinion on this because I get back and forth. I get different opinions on this situation all the time. It is required by law for law enforcement to let people know when they're going to conduct a DUI checkpoint. What are your guys' thoughts on that, on broadcasting those out? Because some people are saying, oh, it's our right to know where they're happening. Other people are like, well, it's just going to tell the drunk drivers where to go around.
Right.
So I'm just curious from with what you guys do, what's your view on people posting and letting others know where DUI checkpoints are going to be?
I disagree 100%. I don't post it. It's a surprise setup to catch the drunk drivers, keep them off the road to keep you safe.
Right.
You know, and people try to post it, and I'm not. Nope.
Delete.
Yeah.
We
not
don't
gonna
do
happen.
it. We don't
Not
do
gonna
it,
happen.
and I think that people misunderstand when they're starting to say that that's public information. That's true that people do.
We're good.
No, he's just saying he's just saying
we got 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're just doing air traffic control stuff. That's all right.
that it is public information, but they don't tell you the address of where they're posting these things up.
Yeah,
they just
don't.
say it's going to happen somewhere in Santa Clarita Friday night, whatever
Yeah.
heads up. For our groups, no. That's not what we're here to do. We're really sorry if that you're sober and you get caught up in one, but look at the bigger picture, everybody. It's going to cost you 15 extra minutes to get home, but these guys are out here till midnight. Which was going to be the freezing cold here soon to protect the lives of your loved ones.
And it's not an emergency.
Right. That's not. Yeah.
And it's not an emergency. It doesn't fit in our groups, but you're happy to post that.
Technically, there's lights, but I don't think it even qualifies for helicopters.
Flashlights don't count.
No, road flares don't count.
Road flares don't count.
Road flares don't count. Well, we really appreciate you guys coming on and talking about the groups and kind of informing people and giving some information. It was really awesome that you guys
Thank you,
agreed
Dave.
to come
Thank
to
you,
this.
Sean.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you, KTHS.
And I do want to ask again. Now, the best way to follow a post, you just put a period or hit follow, right?
No.
Is that not
No
correct?
dots.
No
My dot's
dots.
bigger than your dot.
That's one of their pet peeves.
I
right?
know. Oh, I had no idea. I'm sorry.
There's that little arrow on the top of the post. You click it and follow the link.
In the right hand corner, there's a little arrow Okay, I don't know if
Why'd
this
you
is for
have to turn-
every single
Why'd you turn around?
Check to make sure I didn't have two lefts going on. If you click that arrow, it'll drop down and it'll say turn on notifications.
So you don't have to type following.
You don't have to type following. You don't have to type
Period.
an F. You don't have to nothing. But if you ultimately can't, just at least write something other than prayers.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Oh, the
And then
prayer
our
the prayer emojis.
Yes.
yeah.
Which I think is just high fives.
I really,
It's
Right.
actually
It's-
high fives.
I'm following.
Yeah.
Right. High five to us all.
Right.
Well, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the
Yeah, thank you
opportunity
guys
to
for
come and
coming
share
on.
what we do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Next week is going to be really
Yes.
fun.
Can we talk about next week?
Yeah, we're going to talk about next week real quick. Next week, we're going to have Matt Funicello back, along with Stephen Daniels. One is very, very pro-gun. The other
Yes.
is very, very pro-gun
Slingshot?
control.
Yes.
Yes.
Pro slingshot.
So we are actually going to be doing our very first on-air debate.
Yes. So Dave and I are going to moderate.
Yes.
That'll be interesting.
Yes, we're
Nice.
going to set down ground rules, but we've talked about
We'll have
them
the
already.
scanner on, waiting
Yes.
for the call to go out.
As soon as you hear something happening at KHTS, just be like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
what did Matt do?" No, just kidding. Don't worry, Steven. Matt will not assault you. I promise.
I'm afraid of the other way around.
You think Steven's gonna assault Matt?
Yeah. Actually, I think Cody's just going to jump over the table.
Hey, Cody.
Yeah.
Just drop an elbow off
Yeah.
off the desk. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you again for listening. Tune in next week to hear our very first debate, which I think is going to be pretty informative.
We're excited for next week. I'm a little nervous, Dave. I'm going to tell you right now.
Why?
Because we're going to moderate a debate. Like, who's going to make us? I feel like it's going to be interesting.
I think I'm not worried about it. I think it is going to be.
You do
interesting.
realize we can't say our opinion
Yeah,
during it,
no,
right?
yeah. I'm going to keep my mouth shut, except for unless I'm talking about a question.
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, I thought I was going to say, I'm seconding that over here.
So I'm going to do my best to keep my mouth shut because it's not about me and it's not about you. It's about Stephen and Matt, and we're hopefully gonna get something good out of that and
Bridge the divide, have some communication.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we can even get my goal. My goal with this is to get Stephen to agree to come to the shooting range with me.
That's a lofty
There
goal.
you go.
That is my goal.
That is a lofty goal.
Yeah, and it is a lofty goal, but I think that it's one of those things that I'm not sure if he's ever shot guns or not. I know that we've talked about gun control before, me and him just one-on-one, but I think it's going to be real interesting to see if I can get him out to shoot an AR-15 and a 9mm pistol.
Very nice. I like the goal.
So
make sure to follow Ray and Brian's groups, SCV Emergency Now, Helicopter Lights and Sirens.
Yep.
If you go into one, you'll find the link to all of them posted at the
perfect.
top of each page.
Okay,
Also,
the admin recommendations.
groups. Yep.
Very nice. Also, be sure to download the free KHTS app on your iPhones and Android devices. Now you can listen to KHTS wherever you are. You can also access KHTS news, social media, and more. The easiest way to get the app is by going to your Google Play or App Store and search KHTS. And I nailed it, Dave.
Finally.
I messed it up.
Finally
You
did.
got robotic all of a sudden.
I would drop the mic if it wasn't attached to the base right now.
I thought it was recorded. I'm like, is that recorded?
And if you didn't
Where
have to
did
pay
Sean
for it
go?
to
All
prove.
right? Wow, amazing.
All right, guys, have a good night, and we will see you next week.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.